It has been fucking ages since the last horror movie, hasn't it? It's been like months. I think the last one was The Boy. And I didn't see the first Conjuring movie. I don't want anybody to be thinking that I know what the fuck I'm talking about here. I don't. Full disclosure. I didn't see the first Conjuring movie. I didn't. Because it looks scary as shit, man. Also, that was before I spoiled, like, just about every horror movie I could see, but whatever. Anyway, The Conjuring 2, fucking based on a true story, my fucking ass. Anyway, so it begins with what is her name? Lorraine and Ed, whatever the fuck their last name is. They're ghost hunters, and they're at Amityville. You know, that fucking Amityville haunted house shit. And, there was like a murder that took place there, like a dude killed his whole family. Important. So Lorraine she does a seance, and she has a vision that she is murdering the family with an invisible shotgun. I'm not even kidding. So then she kills the whole family, and then this creepy little boy leads her downstairs, and they do the thing where, like, she looks in a mirror and she sees a spooky thing, and then she turns around, it's not there, and then she looks back and it's there, and then she looks back and it really is there. Yeah. But the thing that's, like, attacking her is a fucking zombie nun, and fucking really a zombie nun. So then she wakes up, and yeah, then scene done. Amityville horror solved, I guess. I don't fucking know. So then we're in England, and it's 70s England. And you could tell, because, like, they're seriously playing up the music there. But, anyway, so there's this girl named Janet. She's got her sister and her two brothers. They live with their mom in this house in England. And, yeah, like, their dad, he left them, and they're having serious financial troubles. And then shit starts to get spooky. And I know you probably wouldn't believe me on this, but one thing you gotta know is that her little brother has a stutter, and he's, like, been practicing trying to get rid of it by reciting the Crooked Man poem from, like, this, like, little animation spinny thing he has. And, yeah. So they all go to bed, and then Janet starts thinking that she's sleepwalking because she keeps waking up in front of this rocking chair that sits in the corner of the living room. And then eventually she keeps waking up in the middle of the night, and she starts having these conversations with herself, and she starts talking in a creepy voice that does not sound like hers at all, and it's scaring the shit out of her sister, who sleeps in the same room as her. So yeah, she scares the shit out of her sister, and she just goes back to bed like nothing fucking happened. And then the little brother wakes up, and he goes to get a drink, and then he comes back upstairs, and, like, his fire truck that he left in the hall turned on, so he throws it into he has a tent that's just sitting in the hallway, spooky things, and he throws it in there, and then it comes back out facing the opposite direction, and then, like, something from inside the tent fucking screams at him, and he goes to tell his mom, but she's just like, it's just a dream, whatever. And then, yeah, we keep cutting back periodically to, like, Ed and Lorraine, and, like, I don't know, they go on a talk show, and people don't believe them about the shit they saw at the Amityville thing, and yeah, eventually, like, we see Lorraine waking up, and her husband is downstairs, and he's just, like, he's painting something, and she's like, what are you painting? And he's like, I saw this thing in my dream, and I couldn't get it out of my head, so I'm just gonna paint it. There you go. And then she looks at it, it's the fucking zombie nun. Like, they're both super religious in this movie. I don't know why he would feel the need to paint a zombified version of a nun and then keep it around the house. I don't get it, but basically Lorraine's like, dude, I'm not gonna tell you that I had a vision, because she doesn't tell him that, but I think we need to stop ghost hunting for a while. So let's just chill it for a little bit. And he's like, why? And she's like, just trust me, bro. And then he does. So then back in England, Janet is still flipping the fuck out. So she decides to take a jump rope and tie her wrist to the bed so she doesn't end up sleepwalking and shit. So smart. But she wakes up in the middle of the night having been thrown from her bed. Yeah. So she goes looking around the house and it's scary as shit, and she grabs a flashlight and then I don't know, she ends up back in her room, but she puts a chair in front of the door and then she hides under her covers, but then the chair is next to her, and she wakes up her sister and she's like, whatever, you're just dreaming or something. But then the beds start fucking shaking and they flip out. They go to see the mom and she's just like, she goes into the room and she's like, you're both just scaring each other. I can't get any sleep around here. And then a dresser goes flying across the room and hits the door, and they're just like, shit, we better get gone. So they end up calling the cops, and the cops come check it out, and they hear banging, and they're just like, it's inside the walls. And then a chair goes sliding across the room, and the cops are like, you know what, this is not our expertise, we need to leave. So they're just like, we'll talk to the priest for you. Yeah. So what this does is, it brings on a lot of media attention, right? And they have, a big news report, and yeah, they do an interview with Janet and the older sister, and then Janet starts talking in a creepy old man's voice, and they have a paranormal investigator there who's been helping them out. He's kind of slimy, but he has reasons for it, so whatever. I guess nobody's truly evil in this movie except for the demon, whatever. So she starts talking in the creepy old man voice, and they're just like, who the fuck are you? And he says, my name's Bill Wellington, or Welkington, something. And he says, I'm 72 years old. I died in the rocking chair in the corner. Because of course he did. And then he starts screaming and threatening people, and then he leaves, and Janet's back to normal. And then back in fucking America, whatever, the ghost hunters, they listen to the tape recording of the old man's voice, and it's there's a priest there, and he's like, the Catholic Church doesn't really want to get involved, so could we send you guys to see if this is fucking legit or not? And they kind of they're iffy about it, and the wife tells him I saw a vision that you died, and it showed a spike going through his chest from the back, and she's like, if anything's the slightest bit dangerous, promise me we'll leave. And he's like, I promise. Of course he did. So eventually they agree, and they end up going over to England, and before they get there, the family is just like, we can't stay in this fucking house anymore because it's haunted. There's a fucking old man attacking us. Let's go stay at the neighbor's house. So they stay across the street, and they're all sleeping in the living room. And the little boy, he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he hears a ringing bell, and he assumes that it's the bell that the dog rings when it wants to go out. But then he looks, the dog's not at the front door. Then he looks down the hallway, and he sees the dog sitting by the back door. And so he goes to open it. He's like, what's up, dog? And oh, for fuck's sake, the dog. The dog fucking transforms like something out of a sci-fi movie into the Crooked Man. It just is. He kind of looks like Slender Man if he dressed more Britishly and had a mouth. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, at that point, the Crooked Man could have his own horror movie series. I'm just saying, he could. But then he chases after the little boy, and he's reciting a creepier version of the Crooked Man poem, and then he gets back to the living room, his screaming wakes everybody up, and they can all hear the poem still being recited, but when the thing comes around the corner, it's just Janet, and she's talking in the creepy old man voice. And then the grate on the fireplace starts shaking. It rips the fuck off, flies across the room, goes straight into the fucking china cabinet, and yeah, lights burst and shit, and then Janet passes out, and yeah, that's the end of that scene. And I laugh my ass off at it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, just the crooked man shows up, and I'm just like, pardon? And then everybody starts screaming and shit starts going crazy. I laughed a lot. So then eventually the ghost hunters get there, and we find out, like, only Janet and the mom are staying in the house now because, you know, shit's fucking scary, bro. And, like, the other 3 siblings are, like, staying across the street and whatnot. And, like, they show them the room that all, like, the girls' room. They've kept it, like, locked with a chain around the doorknob, and they see, like, they've put a bunch of, like, crosses in there. The mom's like, the neighbors donated those. Like, they thought it might help. I hung them up in there because I thought it might help, and Ed's like, did it? Nah. And they go looking around the house, and they're just like, you know, we need to contact this ghost to see what he wants and whatnot. So then they decide to do this thing. Like, they can't be looking at the ghost while it's like talking through Janet, because, like, it doesn't like everybody looking at it. I don't fucking know. He talked in front of the cameras earlier. Fucking piece of shit. Anyway, so they turn around, and you can see, like, Ed, he's in the foreground, and, like, Janet's, like, all blurred out in the background, and slowly, like, her, like, silhouette or, like, blurred form transforms into the old man, and it was actually pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie, it looked really cool. And they're just like, why don't you leave these people alone? Like, Ed's basically doing, like, a call out on this ghost, and he's like, I'm not the moving on type. And then he starts screaming, says some unintelligible bullshit. And then Ed pulls out, like, his fucking cross necklace, and then he just holds it out to him, and that makes him go away. So I have to ask, how come that worked, but the room full of crosses didn't? Anyway, so yeah, they decide to spend the night at the house, and they're staying in, like, the son's room, and then Janet and her mom are staying in the like, they're staying in her room. They're staying in the mom's room, and Janet still ties herself to the bed because she's like, I don't want to be sleepwalking. But she, like, fades through the fucking floor, and when she wakes up, she's on the ceiling of the living room, and the old man is fucking walking around whistling, and then somehow she ends up in, like, the room full of crosses, but they all turn upside down, because that's a demonic thing, right? And then, yeah. So, they all turn around, and then the old man kind of attacks her. He's got a bizarre zombie face, like the nun now. It's connected, trust me. So, then they try to break into the door, like, everybody hears the screaming, they break into the door, and, like, the curtains were trying to choke her or something. Yeah. And then they're like, do we believe them or not? And then they decide to believe them, and then they decide, like, you know, this place is super fucking dangerous, but we should bring back the rest of the family. So they bring back, like, the rest of the 3 siblings, and they're just like, y'all have to support each other. This ghost will, like, kick you when you're down. And so he plays a song on the guitar, and then he starts going around the house fixing shit, because I guess he's just being a nice guy. And eventually he ends up in the basement, and he's like, the basement is fucking flooded, like, dangerously so, actually. Like, he sees, like, it's a pipe that is spurting water in the middle of, like, this huge fucking lake that's underneath the house, and he's just like, that's the one I gotta fix. So he goes out there, and then the mom is still there. She's holding the flashlight for him, and she sees something behind him, and she's like, dude, look out behind you. And he doesn't see anything, but then the mom steps into the water, and the old man shows up in the water. He pulls her down and bites her, and then Ed, he reaches into the water and pulls out dentures that have 2 teeth that are the ones that were missing in the bite. So it's really the old man. How about that? Yeah. But then while that's going on, like, the two kids, like, go to invest, like, Janet and the older brother, they're in the kitchen, and then all the doors slam shut, and then shit starts getting thrown the fuck around, and, yeah, and everybody's flipping out, they're trying to get in there, but when they do eventually end up getting in there, like, the whole place is fucking wrecked, and then they find Janet hiding in, like, an electrical box, still doing the creepy old man voice, and then they're just like, well, shit, this is clearly evidence of the paranormal. But then this other lady, I didn't mention her because she's basically fucking pointless. She's the skeptic, you know. So she shows up and she's like, I have proof that this is all fake. She had a camera because, like, they brought in, like, a whole bunch of different people for, like, to film it. They rented some camera equipment and shit. And yeah, she filmed it from outside and it basically showed Janet just, like, destroying the whole room by herself. So yeah, they're just like, she's faking it the whole time. We out. Everybody leaves. So they get gone, and then the brother and sister are like, Janet, why'd you do it? Like, really, bro? Why'd you fucking do this? And she's like, the ghost told me that if I didn't get those people to leave, then she would kill all of you. Or he would kill all of you. And... or it, who fucking cares? So, yeah, it's spooky, trust me. So, Ed and Lorraine, they leave, and they're about to get on the train, but as they get on the train, like, the tapes that they took, they fall out of their bags and, like, cross in an X pattern, and somehow that inspires Ed to be like, let's play these tapes of, like, that old man screaming shit at the same time. And at first, I thought he was going to do that thing where, like, they play the unintelligible audio in reverse and it comes out perfectly clear. They didn't do that. What they did is actually somehow worse. They play them both at the same time, and it turns out it's, like, the old man. He's, like, it comes out to, like, help me, it won't let me leave or something. Because, like, yeah, the old man's spirit is apparently, like, a puppet for, like, a demon that is taking the form of a zombie nun. Okay. And yeah, then Lorraine goes into, like, another vision, and, like, good God, like, she walks into the living room of, like, the house, and she sees the old man sitting there, and he's like, I think it's time for me to move on, but I can't leave. And she's like, what do you mean? And then he says some bullshit riddle, and then the zombie nun is there, and then Lorraine snaps out of the vision. Her nose is bleeding. Because reasons. She says, it's actually a demon that has been using the old man's spirit as a puppet, and it's taking the form of a nun, because it's a religious figure, to try and corrupt my faith. There's a lot of stuff about, like, religion and shit in this movie. Just gonna be honest. That's how they defeat him. So they head back to the house, and meanwhile, at the house, Janet is flipping the fuck out. She has levitated off the floor, her eyes are glowing orange, her face is all veiny and gross, and she's levitated her sister into the air and then slams her into a wall, and then everybody in the family leaves, the door slams behind them so they can't get back in to help Janet, and they're just like, I don't know what the demon's motivation here was, like, I think it just wanted to kill her. I think it just wanted to kill her, but I don't know what advantage that gives it. Maybe it just makes it more powerful. I don't fucking know. So while they're driving back, Ed and Lorraine, they figure out, like, the riddle means, like, to defeat the demon, you have to say its name. That's basically it, which a little bit iffy on that, you know. Littlest bit iffy, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the lore, but not to go back to dating sims, but in Seduce Me, speaking a demon's name summoned it, not banished it. Just saying. Whatever. So they get back to the house, and they try to, like, break into the house through the basement, and like, Ed is on one side of the door, like, he gets in there, and then the door slams shut behind him, so Lorraine's stuck outside, and she's like, you gotta wait there, man, you promised me you wouldn't die or anything, and he's like, I know what I promised, but I have to do this. He literally says, but I have to do this. So he sees, like, there was this rotted floorboard that he noticed earlier, and he, like, breaks his way through it with, like, a pipe or something, and he crawls up into the house, but next to him, like, this hot water pipe, it's got a valve that's, like, about to burst off, and it bursts off just as he gets through the floor, and it hits him in the eyes, and then he's blinded. But it's okay, he's got his crucifix necklace, you know? He's got it. So he just starts waving it around and screaming in Latin and shit. And meanwhile, outside, the wife is like, fuck, what is his name? And then, like, earlier in the movie, she had another vision while she was reading her Bible, and then she ended up, like, scratching words into it. She scratched the demon's name into her Bible, and she's like, I gotta go get my Bible. And then she opens it up, and she sees its name is, like, I don't know, Velik or something? Valak? I fucking forget. Who cares, really? So, while the husband is, like, still making his way through the fucking house, he gets upstairs, and he sees, like, in the tent, there's, like, the spinning animation of the Crooked Man, right? And then he gets knocked back, and inside of the tent is the Crooked Man, and, like, he rips off the tent, and then he, like, slides into a closet, and then he bursts out of a wardrobe in the boys' bedroom. I don't know, and the door slams shut on him, and, like, he sticks his, like, umbrella or cane through it or something, I don't know. And then Ed's just like, well, fuck that, and he keeps walking, and then he looks into the girl's bedroom, and he sees Janet just standing there in front of the window, and then the window, like, breaks open. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, outside, the wife says the demon's name, and holy fucking shit, I couldn't believe it. A lightning strike comes down from the sky, hits the tree in the front yard, the branches fall away, and it's a perfect spike. I'm not even fucking kidding. And then Ed goes in and he, like, grabs, like, Janet's about to jump, and he grabs her just as she jumps, and he holds on to her, and what he's using to hold himself up is a curtain that is slowly falling off. Fantastic. So then somehow the wife makes it into the house, and she gets upstairs, and she sees the zombie nun just chilling in the corner, and then she gets knocked back to a wall, and she's like, I know your name, Velik. And then the demon, like, his face gets all cracky, he turns into, like, sort of like a shrouded in darkness demon sort of thing, and then they win. Like, it just worked out that way. Like, he just vanishes. That's all it took. That was easy. So then she goes and saves Ed and Janet, and then it's fucking over. Like, there's this shit about, like, they're having a happy ending and all that, but you don't really give a shit about that. I didn't give a shit about that. Movie was way too fucking long. And so is this video, because way too much shit happens in this movie. And I'm gonna be real, I didn't see the first one, so I can't exactly comment on this, but, you know, when they say it's based on a true story, I sort of get the feeling like, you know, evil fucking crooked men aren't going to be showing up all CG and bullshit, you know? Also wasn't expecting a zombie nun. That was rather strange, gonna be honest. Like, it's just a zombie nun. It just smiles, a creepy smile, and it's kind of bloody, and its eyes are orange, and it really felt out of place considering the tone of the rest of the movie. I'm not gonna lie, it felt out of place. It's just, like, parts of it were, like, super fucking scary. Like, they build up the tension, and you're like, oh shit, where the fuck is the fucking thing? And then it shows up, and you're just like, holy shit, that was fucking scary. But then then you see the Crooked Man, and I'm just like, this suddenly became a completely different horror movie. Because, like, I didn't know I was coming in to watch a monster movie. I didn't think, like, there was going to be, like, some big bad demon. I figured it would be, like, sort of Paranormal Activity style, where you don't actually see the ghost, but you see its effect on, like, the house and all the crazy shit it does. I don't know. I'm glad I saw it. It's not terrible. But, you know, There's so many scary movies coming out soon. Saw trailers for them before this movie, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm just the slightest bit worried about going to see them because they actually look scary as fuck. Like, Lights Out, ooh, I'm not ready for that shit, I'm gonna be honest. Probably gonna have to, like, snag myself a boyfriend just so, like, I don't have to go see them by myself. Just, shit's about to get real fucking spoopy. Okay? I think that's it. Good God, this video is so fucking long. Okay, like, yeah. It was scary, okay? Bye.